All right. Um, I think everything's going as it should. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my live stream. This is channel chat 144 officially. My name is Infiniti, and of course, I'm the face, the voice, and the hands behind all the content here under Infiniti Crafting Co. and behind the website InfinityCraftingCompany.com. Tonight has been full of difficulties with my laptop. I don't know what's been going on here lately, but the lag has been incredible. So I am recording this, so hopefully I can upload it to YouTube later so people over there will be able to enjoy this stream as well, because that stream thing is currently frozen and I don't know why. But tonight I just wanted to hop on and do a little chat. The other day I mentioned coming on and doing a little stream for my birthday, just to kind of hang out for a little bit, chit chat, maybe ask, or not ask, but answer questions, maybe ask a few too, who knows. And then I just wanted to do a little catch up, as the title says. So nothing super huge. Of course, it is my birthday, and my biggest birthday ask for this month is for people to swing by the website, check stuff out, and maybe give my pattern club a go. It's called Hey Craftepreneur, and it's located in a top little menu bar at the top of my website. So it's very easy to find, and I think I also linked it in the description box of this stream. So if you want to check that out and support my content, then I would love that a whole lot. It would make my birthday, and it would also make my whole year. Um, I have lots of stuff planned out, and I said I wasn't going to spill beans until next week, but now that I am up with this stream, stuff might come out because I go down rabbit holes and one thing leads to another. So, yeah. And tonight I'll be working on one of my bookmarks. It's called the Escapist bookmark. I put out the pattern tutorial back in March of last year, so it's been out for quite a while, and it's something that I've come to enjoy making a lot. So you know, it's just small and portable, and it's something that I can get away with working on, like while I'm in class, maybe. I've had one class in particular this semester that's just been, you know, watching paint dry would be a lot more fun than being in this class. So I sit there and I pay attention, but I'm also just very much so working on my little projects. So this time I am working in crochet thread. I have been on a kick with it all year. The original pattern called for like a thin 3-weight yarn, and I still like those original ones. I still have them, but I like these thread ones a lot better because they are thinner material to go in the books. So, you know, I thought that was a nice little update, and I might go ahead and make that update in the written pattern at some point. I don't know when I'm going to get around to doing that. What was it? Last year I committed to doing video tutorials for my patterns and including them in the shop versions of them. So now that I have Hey Craftepreneur up, I've been able to really stick to that and really get into, you know, making things as I have intended. Ooh, I feel like I've been talking for a minute and my face was not visible. Okay, technology for the win. Anyway, hello, I'm Face, Voice, and the Hands here, as for mentioned. One thing about me is that I am incredibly awkward when it comes to doing these types of videos, simply because I don't know, I feel like I'm a very like quiet, introverted person, and so to do live streams has always been a little bit more awkward for me, but I have tried, and so here I am again trying, hoping you guys enjoy the show tonight. Let's see. Okay. It's always kind of interesting doing these too, because you have so many screens going up and you don't know if anybody's talking or not in the chats unless you move everything around, but nonetheless. So yeah, just working on my little bookmarks here. I have 3 of them made up, but I've also made it a tradition since I've been making these all year, to keep one for myself. So I've already finished the one that I intended for myself, because with this gold thread here, it has less yardage than the solid colors that don't have tinsel in it. And so I was only able to get 2 bookmarks out of 1 spool of thread. And I ended up going to the craft store today because, you know, it's my birthday. And I got another spool of gold thread, and that was about it. I got like a roll of burlap because I'm planning on making my own wedge board for here at home. So really it's just plywood and fabric, but I wanted that burlap because it has a similar texture to the cloth surfaces that I'm used to wedging on. So I'm going to use my staple gun and staple that to the wood board that I have been using this whole time to make stuff at home. For those of you guys who don't know, I do pottery. I'm a traditionally trained artist. So my main mediums are paint and ceramics. I've kind of dabbled in some of everything over the last 8, going on 9 years. So I've had my experiences with many different forms of artwork, but I've just settled back into the traditional stuff and back into ceramics and painting. And then with the ceramics, it's really cool because now I can make stuff that I can also offer on my website. So it's been a lot of fun picking that back up and really focusing in on it and honing my craft and things like that. And being able to share it with people. I just dropped off a package today, so that was pretty cool. And so that's off to its new home. I'm excited to be getting these yarn bowls out of the studio and making room for new stuff. We opened a kiln on Wednesday, so yesterday, and my pieces, oh my god, they ran. The glaze ran, and it was totally my fault. I feel like perhaps the glaze was a little thick when I applied it. So next time I will be thinning it out considerably so that it doesn't give me this issue, because I'm pretty sure that one of my mugs that I fired off is stuck to the kiln shelf, which sucks because I ground them off. I ground off the kiln shelves before we loaded it, and now I'm going to have to just chisel that thing off of there and grind it off again. So I got my work cut out for me. But right now, not thinking about that, we are preparing for a soda firing, which is really cool. So it's basically a process that it's an atmospheric firing. And I know this is going to get a little nerdy, but we built the kiln back in 2022. So wait, was it 2022? Yeah, we started building it last winter. So it's just gotten finished this semester, and we were kind of celebrating that, and then we did a initial firing, and I had 4 pieces to come out of that, and they all lived, surprisingly. But it's a process that, you know, you get stuff up to temperature, and then once it gets up to like a cone 10 temperature, which is like 2400 degrees, then you start spraying soda ash in there, and seeing where things go, and the results can be really interesting, really earthy. If you use white clays and things like that, you can get a lot of orangey red effects in there, but if you use a red glaze, and it will burn out. So that's kind of fun to play with the chemistry of everything and see what you get. It's a mixed bag for sure, and you never quite know when the soda ash is going to build up on a piece and like stick to the shelf and all that. But you know, if you can get some surviving pieces, then you're in good shape. So I'm looking forward to seeing what I get out of that batch, and you know, dividing things up because we're doing a pottery show, December 8th at my school. So it'll be interesting to figure out what I'm gonna put into that show and what I'm going to keep and what I'm gonna bring home and show off to you guys and put on the website to get moved out. But I think pottery is also kind of fun because people like pottery, and it's a really good way to get your personal artwork out there, and in a practical way, because people see pots as practical. And so whether it's a mug or a vase or eating dishes or whatever, people, you know, if they like your art, they'll buy it, and they'll have a piece of your creativity in their homes forever. And that's really great. As a creative, you always want people to enjoy the things that you work and put out there. So that's been the journey I've been on for the last 2 years. The last 2 years. And it's been really great. It's been formative as well. And, thinking back on my experiences, I graduate in May, so I'm excited about that. I'll have my bachelor's in fine arts and I'll have a minor in business admin, which is really cool. And then I have my associates in art education. So, I have a lot of options that I can hop around with that if this whole craft business doesn't work out the way I intend it to between now and then. But that is beside the point. I'll save that a little bit for later. Um, what is it? Yeah, we got some really, I don't know, kind of disheartening news, and I didn't think it bothered me as much as it probably did. Um, so last week, we got news from our department that they're planning to shut down the fine arts department, which is really odd because our arts department is kind of renowned and it draws people in from all over the country, whether it's to become students or to participate in the art shows that are there. And it's really a staple in the local creative community. So many local artists have gotten their foot in the door and gotten to the places where they are because they attended this school in some capacity, whether they went to grad school or just got their BFA. And so, it's like from the student perspective right now, it feels like, our administration is just overlooking their best product, so to speak, and kind of shoveling us off to the side in lieu of better things. And we're not the only department that's experiencing cuts and stuff, but they're talking about getting rid of our department as a whole, and I think that um, we're the only ones where it's quite that drastic. So it just seems kind of lopsided to us. So we got a lot of stuff going on as the students trying to get petitions together and whatnots and get enough uproar locally to get them to at least pause or get some backlash against it so that we can keep and maintain our arts department. So that's been my last like week, and it's been throwing off my creative bug a lot. And I'm a person where I'm just like, I go along and I'm like, tra la la la, this isn't gonna bother me as much, and then it does, and I'm like, okay, and it's my time to sit down and reflect about it. But nonetheless, we're taking the best actions that we can as the people who are going through the programs. Some of us are on our way out the door, but like at least half of the department is not, and so you're looking at a bunch of students that don't want to be displaced and whatnot. Um, that was the whole reason that they came to the school in the first place. So anyway, it's a lot of hoopla. It's a little sad. It's been kind of weighing in on everybody at different times and paces and stuff. So we're just trying to finish out as strong as we can if it does end up that we are cut from a degree program. But I guess that's life, so to speak. So all that to say, I have not been as productive this semester as I thought I would be. And for the most part, it has nothing to do with that situation, but the situation certainly did not help in that. But I feel like I haven't made as much, and even looking at all the stuff that I have made, it doesn't seem like I've produced as much as I could have this semester, even though I've been throwing it home and making some really nice mugs and things like that. Right now, my focus is trying to make larger pieces, so I have managed to be able to throw 8 pounds of clay. I found this tutorial. Well, it wasn't really a tutorial. I was scrolling down like YouTube reels and I found this method out of nowhere because I wasn't even looking at pottery reels. I was looking at like animals. So it popped up and this guy like centered some clay and then he threw some clay on top of it and centered that on top of the centered clay, and he like did that a few times and was able to get this really miraculous piece out of all this clay. And so me being me, I'm like, I'm gonna go in and just make something great out of spite. And so I went in to the studio Wednesday morning before my 8:30 class, and I was able to get a really nice 8-pound piece. And that might sound like a little intimidating, but it's a really great piece, and I can't wait to get around to trimming that and trimming the foot into it, because I've been bereaved lately with attaching feet to my vases. I made 3 tall pieces earlier in the semester by stacking, and 2 of them have survived so far. Those remaining 2 are going into the soda firing on Tuesday, but I had a third piece, and it was my favorite piece out of that first batch. And apparently there was an air bubble between the like slipping and scoring of the bottom of it and the foot, and it blew apart in the bisque kiln. And I came back to school that day and that morning, and I saw it on the shelf, and I'm like, no. So it's still sitting there just as a reminder. I tend to keep my failures because you learn from your failures. But for me, if it's sitting there in my face, I will remember to do better the next time, 9 times out of 10. So that's one of those pieces where if I just keep walking by it, I'll remember to more thoroughly slip and score my things. So, not all of my pieces come out okie dokie. I've definitely been learning to let go more of pieces nowadays and not trying to just save them. Hashtag I can fix it. But um, I think that that has also contributed to me growing in my art because, sometimes when you are a creative, you have this tendency to, um, what, be attached to what you create because you made it with your hands. It's precious, of course. But, again, I had to learn to start letting some stuff go, and I have let go of a lot of pieces. Like I said, the pieces from the last firing are included, and I'll eventually put them on Instagram and like slowly show them off on my community tab on YouTube. That's something I really wish Rumble had, was a community tab, because I would post to it frequently so I can tell you guys all the different stuff. Um, that I tend to be able to tell my other places first because it's not always convenient for me to just jump on and do a stream. You know, Trying to prep these streams is wild because my technology doesn't always agree with me. Like on the days where I don't want to stream, it's doing great. But on the days that I want to stream, it takes me like an hour and a half to get my computer up and going, get all the stream keys in, and just get everything synced and functioning. Like right now, my YouTube thing is still frozen. So I'm just going to end up re-uploading this to YouTube separately from the rest of this, whatever this is. I lost my train of thought there. But anyway, so let's see. That's been going on. But like I said, with those bigger pieces, I threw 3 of those pieces, and then I threw a 4th piece that I intend to create a foot on. One of those vases, and so I might pick one of them that I don't like as much to put the foot on, and hopefully it'll stay. Because I have no trust. In fact, that piece where the foot blew off of it, I tried to make something of a loose replica. I don't really make any 2 pieces the same, so that was a bit of a challenge. And I came back to school, it was bone dry, and I picked it up and I was like, oh, this is great. And then the foot just fell off right on the table, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? So I kind of backed away from the feet for a little bit. It doesn't help too that I haven't had a whole lot of time to be on campus in the ceramic studio, just like elbow deep into everything like I have in semesters past. It's been a little rough this semester, so I only have to be over there for 2 weeks, but I mean like for 2 days, but the extra 2 days that I had in semesters prior was a lot more helpful. But next semester I will have more time over there, so I will spend more time working on my things, and I think that'll be really great. Can finish up pretty strong for my degree and have some other cool things to offer in my shop as well. And so, too, I've been making stuff at home just to try to supplement some of the stuff that probably didn't turn out so great at school, and to kind of compensate for the fact that I feel like I'm behind on, because I'm used to making like 40 pieces at least in a semester, and I think in the spring I made something close to 60. So I'm used to being more productive. This time I feel like I've only come up with maybe 30 things, and it's not bad. It's not bad considering it's only been like 13 weeks, but still, that's not the greatest comparatively, which is another thing that kind of kills on creativity. But I digress. I am most excited about the things that I have been making at home. I made a yarn bowl here at home, and I decided to play with the guides on my yarn bowls a little bit more because I don't like how my swirls turn out. Now, sure, it could be a matter of practice, but I feel like everybody does the swirl for the yarn guide or the straight line or something like that. So I really wanted to do something a little different, and I think I achieved that pretty much. The box of my greenware is not over here in this part of my studio, so I don't have it to show you guys, but I definitely translated that concept over to a couple of pieces that I did make at school. One of them is a teacup, right? Because I made a foot for a vase, but then by the time I came back around to trim everything and put everything together, it was in no way it was too big for the piece that I think I intended it for. And so I made it into a yarn bowl and I put my little guide on it. And then I'm like, you know what would look good on this? A handle. So I put a handle on it, and it's a teacup yarn bowl. And it's the only one. Similarly, I made pumpkins. I made two. One of them is a red brown stoneware and the other one's a white stoneware. There we go. And the white stoneware one came out of the bisque yesterday, and I squealed with joy because it came out looking so good. And no, I don't have pictures right now, but if you remember the little short that I put up both here and on YouTube, so I don't know where people follow me primarily, but one or the other, they're on both platforms. I put it up. I was actually making it at that point, but I never showed off a finished piece because it just now got bisque fired. So my intention for that is to put on one of them, I'm going to put a very vibrant, like, low fire glaze on it, and I look forward to it. I also want to play around with gold luster, which is, I have it. It's a little 1 gram jar, and what it is basically liquid gold, like literal liquid gold. So the one I have is 22 carats, and I plan on putting a thin application on that, on the stems of those pumpkins after I've done a coating of the glaze, the green glaze. So I'm going to put green on my stems, and then I'm going to overlay it with gold. And that's mostly because, like, over time, stuff like that tends to fade. Like, my great grandmother had china ware, and it had gold rims and stuff on it. And over time, with use and stuff, it can start to fade. Now, I feel like because these are yarn bowls, perhaps that fading will take much longer. But this is old, like, our stuff is old, so I'm thinking that it would take much longer for the fading to start happening. But once that fading does occur, I want there to be color underneath it. So even though the gold might fade, it would still have that vibrancy that you enjoy. So that's a thing. I feel like I've been talking a mile a minute. And okay, technically I have been live for like 35-40 minutes, so I guess I have. I usually don't go live this long, so this is pretty good. So what have I been doing? I've been nerding out about pottery. So I got the pumpkins going on. I don't know how I'm going to glaze the second one. It's not bisqued, so it won't make it into the soda firing. So it's gonna have to go into the cone 10 thing, and I'm afraid for it because the glaze I put on the pieces that got ruined this go round has never run on me before. And like I said, I think it's because it was a little thick, but I'm terrified that if I glaze my pumpkin, the lid will get stuck, or, you know, something's gonna go horribly wrong. And it could just be me, but also, you know, I want to say my track record has been pretty good with these firings. This is the first time that I've actually lost pieces to a firing. So, you know, it happens. There's nothing you can really do about it. It's inevitable, but just the fact of that first time of it happening to you is just like, gasp. So, anyway, what else did I want to blab about tonight? Well, let's see. Oh, that thing. The sweater behind me. This is my latest knitting pattern. Some of you might have been around long enough, especially on YouTube, I know on Rumble, most of you guys have been here. But either way, some of y'all might have been here long enough to have remembered this thing when I started it, technically in 2022. I started mentioning, hey, I modified a stitch from Crochet. And that was, it might not be the most complicated thing, but it was definitely a time where I thought I had just the greatest stroke of genius ever. And so I really enjoyed playing around with my little modified stitch, and so much so that I decided to make a sweater vest out of it. And so that thing was born. And the original one is actually a little different. This V-neck is a lot more open, but that's because I didn't decrease it at all. I just did a simple ribbing around it. This one I did decreases on, and I love how that looks. I don't know if the camera definition over here is strong enough to pick up on how the collar looks, but it's definitely something I'm very proud of. So I was supposed to release this pattern today, but what had happened was, I fell behind with video editing. So this also kind of plays into Hey Craftepreneur, my pattern club. So every month I have been dishing out 2 patterns, with updated instructions, with video tutorials and things like that for my members that support my content. And this is supposed to be number 2 of those for this month. The first one, I put out the sweater that I did for last Christmas. It's an ugly Christmas sweater, quote unquote ugly. I quite like it a lot, and I have the yarn in store to make an autumn version. Now it's looking like next year sometime, but nonetheless, I fell behind with the editing. I am still chugging through it, and prospectively, right? Because I have this weekend to kind of work on it, and I'm going to get as much of it hashed out as I can. And then hopefully, I don't know how long this monster is going to take to render, because in my paid tutorials, I take more time, I guess you could say, to just really make sure people can see stuff and to talk about the stitching and, why things are going the way they are going and things like that. And also I give a lot of my pro tips in these tutorials. So anyway, while I am snipping away and trimming and whatnot, this tutorial started out at 3 hours long. Now, the finished product will not be 3 hours long. However, that's a lot of footage to go through. I usually say every 10 minutes takes, like 30 minutes to edit. So if you want to do that math, it takes a while to get through all that and make sure there's no hiccups in there and that everything's explained right. And sometimes I goof, and I have to figure out which clips I goofed on and went back and re-recorded and all that. So it's a whole process, it's a whole circus for me, but I'd rather go through that on the front end and have you guys with a product that you enjoy, as opposed to somebody coming back and being like, this sucks. So that's what's going on with that. So I am thinking that maybe I'll be able to hit the render button on that hopefully Sunday night, so it can render and process and do its thing on Monday while I am at school, and then hopefully it'll be up by the 22nd. I don't think people were really all that upset about this delay, to be honest. However, I just wanted to put it out there that this is still coming, but I did again have to go through all the formatting and going through the video editing. It had 66 clips to just give you the image of how extreme this is. There's 66 clips floating around in my folder that I have to go through in order to put this tutorial together. And so I've got that done, and I've already got my businessy copyright stuff done for it, the pattern itself, and then I kind of sort of got stuff through with the formatting of the PDF. I'm thinking that the PDF won't come to the general public until sometime in January, just to give my members a little special time to be able to make the thing, and before anybody else, kind of, sort of. So, not kind of, sort of. I'm trying to be more concise with my language sometimes, but it doesn't always work out that way. Nonetheless, so that's what's on the lineup to come out soon. I don't know what I'm doing for December, really. I did make a scarf this month as something of a passion project, and I think that particular tutorial won't come out until February, I think. It depends on how excited I get between now and then, but I want to do a video for it in December for my members, so I am thinking about doing that. It's kind of one of those things that came up at random, and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta design something, I gotta do it, and so I did it. And that's another of the reasons why I started up Hey Craftepreneur, is because while I have chosen to pursue crochet and knitting design as a career, as a business, I tend to have these urges to just design fun stuff, and just because, I don't know, just because it's fun for me. And it's kind of hard to keep up with formatting all these things rapid fire like I was between, let me see, between the time I started putting out patterns, and which was like in 2018, like, yeah, late 2018, and the end of 2022, I put out 40 patterns, which might not sound like a lot, but you're talking about 4 years. It's like 10 patterns a year. It's almost a pattern per month, per year. So, needless to say, I was just going at it, and I think a lot of those were just really fun, little neat, quirky little things that I enjoyed making. Some of them, a lot of them were free. I'm still working on re-rolling out those free patterns. It's not totally, I didn't totally desert the project, but it has taken like a back seat to some of the stuff that I'm doing now for the business and whatnot, trying to get it to be sufficient, or, yeah, sustainable, whatever you want to call that. Trying to make it to where I can continue doing Infiniti Craft & Co. for the foreseeable future. So, that's something that's near and dear to me, and that is why I've been on a rampage, so to speak, with Hey Craftepreneur, and really pushing it and promoting it, because I believe that going forward, that's going to be the best way to support my content. Like, I've been making the move this year on so many things regarding my little side gig thing here, and one of those big things was just making my website, or trying to make my website the best that it can be. So, I've just made it a flagship experience where people can go there and find everything they need to know about me, from my artwork to my offerings in my shop to Hey Craftepreneur to just generally about me, like the non-monetizable things. So, that's really become my central home, especially as social media has been changing, because I don't know if you guys realize it or not, you barely see the things from the people you subscribe to on most platforms nowadays. There are a few platforms now where you actually consistently see from the people you follow. And I'm not the only artist out there that's calling that trash. But nonetheless, you kind of need to be out there in order to be seen by the people that you are seen by. So, it's kind of a balancing act with that. So I am still on various platforms, long story short. Here lately, I've been taking a distancing approach, which is hard because it's the holidays and you're supposed to be out there promoting and things like that. But I'm like, I feel like I put out the word on my material enough where the people who know of my content and want to support me and stuff will actually do so without me killing myself over social media. So there's that. Let's see, 42 minutes. How else can I fill in maybe another 15 to 20 minutes? I don't know. I have not gotten very far on this bookmark, but that's because I keep talking with my hands. So, okay, let's see, crochet. I don't really have anything else started as far as the crafts go. I don't really know what I want to start as far as the crafts go either. So that's fun. I'm going to have to sit back and kind of look at the things that I have made over the years and would want to revisit and start making again, to see also what I'm going to offer my members for next month. So that's fun. But I am thinking about something really big, and I want to do this thing to kind of tie together my different communities. So over the summer, what did I do? I had a couple of reels to go really viral over on Facebook, And I mean, viral for me, like over 100,000 views per reel, which was crazy because I'd kind of given up on Facebook, to be honest. I'd been stuck at 500 followers, and at best, like 16 of them would see my posts that I would put out regularly. So I just kind of started drifting away from the platform until I went on hiatus in June, and I decided to randomly put one of my reels over there, and it took off, which is great because it's now grown my audience over there to 25,000 people. Um, so what I've been trying to do is to tie my communities together, between YouTube here and there. Um, Not really Instagram so much because most of the people that follow me on Instagram found me from any of those places, so it's kind of, they're already kind of there. So considering my audience is kind of built off of beginner crochet stuff over on Facebook, I've decided to do a thing. I'm going to make a long video, kind of like how I streamed Channel Chat 143 almost all day. I'm planning on doing a stream like that again, but just going over the basics of crochet, how to get started, things like that. And it's going to tie into Hey Craftepreneur a little bit because I'm planning on doing an expanded version of how to crochet and putting it in a course to include in my members club. And I will not be increasing the price on my tiers. So there's only one tier. It's $5.99 a month, or it's $19.99 quarterly. Not changing the price on that, just to include this, because again, I feel like crafting should be kind and accessible and all of that. So I want to make sure that people have access to the content, and feel like they are getting the best worth or value out of what they're already subscribed to. So I'm going to be including that in there, and in hopes that that will, bring people over from Facebook to subscribe to my channel so they can see, hey, I'm uploading tutorials every week, that you can follow along to and start to make interesting projects with. So those are my biggest bowl of beans. And I already know I'm going to have to re-upload this to YouTube. So by the time they see this, that's going to be something I think that will create a little bit of buzz around the channel, and then that will contribute to, because usually in December I do something for Christmas, and this year I have no idea what to do. I thought about doing a crochet along or a knit along again, but I was like, do people actually enjoy those from me? I guess, you know, I suppose. But what I feel like people would really enjoy, especially during their like off season, during that time of the year, I think they would enjoy picking up the craft that they've been procrastinating on. And so to be able to offer that to the people that have decided to follow my page on Facebook would be really great, but also just to have that out there for my general YouTube, Rumble, whatever community. So I'm currently piecing that together. I actually am so committed to this, right? I sat up maybe, I don't know, back in August and wrote out an actual outline for this and how I want it to go and things like that. So naturally, when I put it up on the channels, I'm going to have my little promotional blurbs between the different sections as kind of a resting period, so people can still hear about what I've got going on, but they're not being interrupted necessarily. So we'll see how that all plans out. Initially, I was going to do it all month long, but now I don't know, it's a timing thing, so we'll see about that eventually. But my main thing is that I want people to be able to enjoy that and, eventually, come to subscribe and support the content and all that. Because I mentioned back in probably late August, I'm looking at things as I continue to enter and exit different chapters of my life and things like that. And I said last year in 2022 that I wanted to make Infiniti Crafting Co. my full-time job, and I am still committed to that. I am in no way ready to just like stop or slow down with it, but the thing is with that, I need the community support behind that. So again, this is why I'm constantly posting, or promoting Hey Craftepreneur, because that's going to be the most solid, consistent way for me to be able to continue to afford like doing the tutorials, like buying my camera batteries and replacing equipment that's getting old, or even my editing software, keeping the internet on, that kind of thing. So, you know, it takes a lot to do the things that I do, and I don't mind that, but I definitely have to have the support going forward for it. Otherwise, you know, I'm not gonna quit my channels. I've decided on what I will do if I can't do tutorial stuff anymore, and I think it's a happy medium for people, but I will discuss that more um, as we get closer to May, and that just, again, it depends on the numbers I get over on Hey Craftepreneur. I don't know how to pitch it any differently. I have tried to do, like, I don't know, different promotional things. I'm still like posting little sunshine clips and stuff like that, but again, whether or not my content continues, it just depends a lot on my community in general. And I'm really happy that some people are starting to kind of trickle over and give the thing a chance, because not only does that um, help me to support the stuff, but like it also inspires me to keep going, because every time I see a new subscriber, I'm like, oh, cool, there's another person that wants to make my stuff. So, again, it goes back to being a creative and wanting to share your creations with other people. So, hopefully, in the future, I will be able to say that, hey, people make my stuff and they tag me in it and whatnot. And that would be enough for me, you know? So, yeah, that's basically that. I do have a promotion running for Hey Craftepreneur this month, and I have a promotion running for the handmade shop for the rest of the month. So I got distracted. So for Hey Craftepreneur, I have a promo code called Let Me Stitch, and it is for 20% off your first month if you become a monthly subscriber. Like I said, it's $5.99 a month plus tax, so it's like $6.60 or something like that per month, less than a cup of coffee each month, and you get access to my full pattern library with their video tutorials. I often give discounts for members because you guys are supporting my content every month. And I have a members only forum where you can contact me for support on patterns and things like that. So it's getting really involved, and I'm happy about that. I'm, like I said, also doing this crochet thing, so people can learn how to crochet when they join. I'm going to figure out how to word that later, but I'm enjoying coming up with ideas on ways to expand and offer more for the people that have faith in my vision for the future of Infiniti Crafting Co. and want to continue to see the content that I produce and see it in a better capacity. And I just remembered, right? So every time I get an actual bad comment, because sometimes it's really easy to get down in the dumps as a creator, but I'll make this quick. It seems like when you're feeling the worst about your content, you get like a really bad comment about it. And if you look back on it, which I do often now, when I get bad comments, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to take this personally. Then I go and look at the video that they are commenting on. If that video is old, then I give myself a little grace at that point, because it's not recent. So that means I haven't goofed up recently. This is something like 2, 3, 4 years old that, I mean, you know, clearly if the person was like paying attention, they would see that it's an old video and not, you know, say the things that they say. So I just kind of let it roll off my back in that way. But anyway, I digress. The promotion going on for my handmade shop, which I believe applies to my merch items. I haven't had anybody to buy my merch items yet from directly from the website, so I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it also applies to those items. I have a 26% off promotion going for the entire month of November with the code BDAY2023. So you can get 26% off your full purchase. Orders over $125 get free shipping. Want to make sure that's there. I almost forgot to tell you guys this, because I put a post up in my community tab on YouTube, and I never got around to actually making a video about it. I think I had planned on doing that tonight or next week, but I don't think I'm going to stream next week. I think I'm just going to take some time off, especially after I get done editing that video. But I got good news from the dentist. So I had a consultation earlier this month, and they were looking at my tooth. And first of all, I became something of a spectacle there because it's a dental school. And the first doctor asked me if they put a splint on my tooth, and I'm like, no. They looked at it and they're like, you're screwed, kid, and basically sent me out the door. So I've been running around for the past year, since last September, with a broken tooth in front of my mouth, and they're telling me that they need to extract it and all this, that, and the other, and I'm like, y'all are out of your freaking minds because it's in the front of my face. Like, maybe if it was something back here, I would just let it slide, but that's not the case. And so I've been fighting and trying to save and stuff like that because I'm thinking I have to come out of pocket for a dental implant and the surgery for it, which would suck. But nonetheless, I was going to do it to save my smile and also be able to restore how I speak, because I've had to go through the motions of like fixing my jaw to a point where I can speak without bumping my bottom teeth with my upper teeth, and being able to speak properly, because I stumble and fumble over my words so much now because of this tooth and trying to not hit it and whatnot. It's just been an ordeal for the last over a year now. But nonetheless, the guy that looked at my tooth this time, the different guy, thinks that they can save the natural tooth and kind of just preserve all my bone structure and stuff in there. So I told him, yeah, let's go for that. I still don't know if state insurance will pay for it with sparkles, but nonetheless, it's the idea that there's a chance that they can fix this, and I can get my life back. That right there brightened my whole month and the rest of my year, because I'm like, okay, maybe by the time they finally call me back, because they are very congested, because dental school, everybody needs work done, things like that. They go on breaks because they are a school and things. So I get that, and I'm just thinking to myself, hopefully, like, by the time my spring break comes around, they'll call me back for another appointment and I can get this process started, and they can build up a new tooth and I can be back to normal. That would be the goal and the dream. So I'm still saving up for that. I haven't really had a lot of updates to give on that, to be honest, up until this past couple of weeks when I had my appointment. So that was exciting, and I was happy to be able to share that and actually show you guys a picture of the x-ray that I had snapped, because I talked about it, then I stopped talking about it, then I talked about it some more, and then I stopped talking about it, then I like kind of reserve it for a blog experience, because I'm like, oh, people don't really care about that. But again, it's something that affects what I do here. And so considering I've also been putting out coffee goals and stuff to try to save up for this, people deserve to know what's going on with it. So that was my thing for that. But yeah, it was a pretty nasty fall. Cracked off like this corner of my tooth, and it's crumbled since then, but it was unfortunate. So I am happy, and I want to say a huge thanks to everybody who has either donated a coffee to me in the past, or has signed up for Hey Craftepreneur, or the people that have been buying from me this holiday season. All of that contributes to me being able to save up for that, and me to just like get by from day to day, because stuff's rough out there. And as a small business, I just appreciate your willingness to support me as I continue to build on my various endeavors. There we go. So with that, I am going to go kick back for the rest of my evening. I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with me tonight. I am going to try to get this up on YouTube almost immediately. Hopefully next time I'll be able to get my tech life together. I don't know if I ever will, to be honest, but I try. Thanks again for hanging out with me, and until next time, happy making.